Hi friends, goodness, I'm sorry that I've been off track and it's been a bit, but we are back with block number 19. Today is going to be the slant stitch. So to get started, I chained 29. I turned and started crocheting into the second chain from the hook, so you're going to skip one. And I did a single crochet all the way across. I now have 28 single crochet stitches starting from my first one here all the way to the last. So you want to get to where you have 28 stitches if you are following the measurements for the sampler series. If you're just learning how to do this stitch in general, then you can start from here. So it's going to alternate single crochet every other row, and then your actual slant stitch row, which we're going to start on now. So getting started with row 2, just go ahead and chain 3. This is going to count as your first double crochet. Yarn over. Again, you already counted your chains as your first one, so skip that. And you're going to insert into the second stitch from the base there. And this is going to be your second double crochet. So 1 and 2. For the slant stitch, we are going to skip the next one, and you're going to do a double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So there's 1. If you're a little rusty for double crochet, that's yarn over, insert, hook, pull through to anchor down, yarn over, pull through to 1 time, yarn over, pull through to a second time. That was our second one, and 3. Okay, and now we're going to be utilizing this gap. So yarn over. I just like to go ahead and kind of fold everything towards it to make it a little easier, but you're going to push through the chain, or excuse me, the stitch that you skipped. So into that single crochet. Whoops. Push on through. You're going to hook that yarn, pull it back through the front, and then just gently let it smooth itself out, straighten out there. And then this is going to have an overlay across your 3 double crochets that you've made. So once you've pulled that all the way across, yarn over and pull through. You should now have 3 loops on your hook. And the stitch is done. And you're just going to keep repeating that. So skip the next stitch and 3 double crochets. Oh. Okay. And here we go again. So yarn over, insert into your skipped stitch, hook the yarn on the back side, pull it through, and keep, oops, I dropped it. Okay, we got it. Pull through and smooth it out all the way up and across. Yarn over, finish that stitch, skip, double crochet 3, and slant stitch, yarn over, insert into your skipped space, hook it on the other side, pull through, make sure you have a lot of available yarn. Uh-oh, I have a whole clump that just showed up. Alright, but make sure a lot of yarn is nice and available so you can pull through nice and easy. Let it smooth out and sit right across the front, yarn over, pull through. So I need to straighten that little glob out, but you're just going to keep repeating that until you get to the very last 2 stitches. I will join you there in just a moment, and we will look at this finished row together. All right, so I'm about to do my last set, and I just want to point out something really quick. So if you notice, we've been finishing our slant stitch and essentially making a little stitch up here, and we've been skipping the space beneath it to continue with our next set. So we're skipping, and because we're skipping underneath, we're kind of making up for that gap that's there. So there's a skipped stitch here, but we have a stitch up top. The only time that did not really happen is at the very beginning. So we're about to make up for that right now. So here's my last slant stitch, yarn over, reach across. I'm pushing through that. Oops, I'm really struggling with this one. Okay, pull and yarn back to the front and up across the top. Finish that stitch, and now we're at our last 2 stitches. So in the beginning, we skipped a stitch, but we had our 1, 2, and we jumped straight into that 3rd stitch here, which was our first double crochet beneath. So we don't have a slant stitch above here, and we need to go ahead and even those counts out. So we're not going to skip underneath. Once you get to the last 2 stitches of your row, we're just going to finish with 2 double crochets. So you'll have 2 double crochets on either side of this square, and that's going to help us keep our count of 28. Okay, so here's how our finished row looks, that beautiful slant stitch. And for the block, we are going to alternate with single crochet on the opposite sides. So we chain 1. Here that's just giving us some height. So go ahead and go into that first one. That does not count for the single crochet sides. So 28 across. And here at the end, just remember that these chain 3 counted as our first double crochet. So you do want to make sure that you get into that top 3rd chain there and count it as a stitch. And now you have 28 across. So now we flip back to our right side, chain 3, it counts as your first double crochet. Skip over to our next space, and you can start the slant stitch all over again. So again, we're just slant stitch here, you skip a space, 3 double crochets, and then yarn over, insert into that skipped space, pull the yarn through from the other side, and smooth it out up and across. Yarn over, pull through, skip, and just keep on to the end of the row. At the very end, again, you do not skip anything, you just work all the way to your last 2 stitches, and you finish out with 2 double crochets so that you have symmetry on either side. I will meet back up with you guys when we have a whole block, and we'll see this when it's done. So here is my finished block. I've already done my bordering, so 28 stitches per side with 3 in the corners. For this one I actually did the border from what would be the wrong side. So if you notice the right side, your slants were going this way. The reason I did that is because I wanted my single crochets to match the wrong side from throughout. So something as you're advancing through the blocks to just kind of pay attention to how right side and wrong side will look a little bit different. In this case, it's how the single crochets straddle either side as opposed to the right side going into the same space. So I just wanted that particular look, totally up to you. Mine ended up being 8 rows of slant stitches to get my perfect square shape. And as always, I just measured that by going corner to corner and making sure I had a pretty straight edge there. And then that's going to help me make sure that I'm ready to have that match up with my other blocks and seam together nicely at the ends. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Really versatile. You can also do it with treble crochet stitches if you want it to be a little bit looser, and it's just a way that you can make that even more versatile. So hope you had fun. We will see you again soon for block number 20.